Staying up late. Most people think staying up way past midnight means you're lazy or unproductive. Research shows night owls actually tend to score higher on intelligence tests than early risers. The logic? Smarter brains are often more curious and restless, which makes it harder for them to just shut down and go to bed like normal people. Instead, they're busy replaying conversations, brainstorming ideas, or overthinking that one embarrassing thing they said in 2014. Even history's geniuses were notorious for this. Leonardo da Vinci barely slept, and Nikola Tesla bragged about powering through the night with just a couple hours of rest. Being easily bored. Most people think boredom means you're lazy or unmotivated, but research shows highly intelligent people often get bored faster because their brains crave more stimulation. When something feels too simple or repetitive, smart brains check out quickly and start hunting for new challenges. That's why some of the most creative ideas pop up when you're zoning out in class, waiting in line, or stuck in a boring meeting. In fact, studies found that people who get bored easily are more likely to be curious, innovative, and willing to explore new ideas. Swearing a lot. Turns out, having a colorful vocabulary might actually be a sign of a sharp mind. Studies show people who swear more often usually have stronger language skills and a bigger overall vocabulary. It's not about being rude, it's about quick thinking and verbal fluency. Think about it. When your brain can pull up dozens of different ways to insult someone who cuts you off in traffic, that's creativity at work. Even Shakespeare was known for his elaborate, witty insults, and he's still considered one of the greatest minds in history. Eating the same exact meal every day. Most people think eating the same breakfast, lunch, or dinner on repeat is boring or obsessive, but psychologists say it's actually a sign of efficiency and often tied to higher intelligence. Here's why. Smart people know decision-making burns mental energy, so instead of wasting brain power on whether to pick pancakes or cereal, they just automate the small stuff. That way, they've got more focus left for solving bigger problems. Even Einstein was famous for wearing the same outfit every day. Not because he lacked style, but because he didn't want to waste brain space deciding between shirts. The same logic applies to food. By keeping meals simple and predictable, you're giving your brain more bandwidth to think creatively. Forgetting things easily. Most people freak out when they forget little things, like walking into a room and immediately thinking, wait, why am I here again? But scientists say forgetfulness can actually be a sign of intelligence. Smart brains don't bother storing every tiny, useless detail. Instead, they filter out the junk so you can focus on the stuff that actually matters. Think of it like having a mental spam filter. Your brain just deletes the clutter to make space for bigger picture thinking. In fact, studies from the University of Toronto found that people who forget small day-to-day things are often better at problem solving and making smarter decisions. Enjoying alone time. Most people think wanting to be alone means you're antisocial or awkward. But studies say the opposite highly intelligent people often prefer solitude. It's not that they dislike others. It's that their brains are constantly buzzing with ideas, plans, and what-if scenarios. Alone time is like hitting the refresh button. It gives their mind space to breathe and connect the dots. In fact, research found that smarter people often report lower happiness levels in super social environments. Small talk? Drains them? Loud parties? Feels pointless? They'd rather dive deep into one big idea than float on the surface of 100 conversations. Building entire life systems you never follow. Ever spend hours making a super detailed study schedule, workout plan, or productivity system, only to abandon it after 2 days? Most people see that as failure, but it can actually be a sign of high intelligence. Why? Smart brains love structure, but they also love improvising. Designing those systems shows you're good at big picture thinking and problem solving. It's like setting up a perfect chessboard and then immediately wanting to play a different game. You're not inconsistent. You're just wired to think faster than the plan can keep up, not trusting instructions, unless you've tested them yourself. Some people follow instructions like they're sacred. Others, they look at a manual and immediately think, yeah, but does it really work like that? That second group usually has the sharper brains, because high intelligence often comes with skepticism, the urge to test, tweak, and challenge the rules instead of just blindly accepting them. It's the same mindset that drives scientists to experiment rather than just read theories. Smart people don't just want to know what to do, they want to know why it works. So if you press the do not touch button just to see what would happen, that's not defiance. That's curiosity in its purest form. Asking too many questions. Remember being that kid in school who always had one more question? The teacher's wrapping up, the class is ready to leave, and boom, your hand shoots up. Smart brains don't just accept answers at face value. They want to know the why behind everything. Why do we park on driveways but drive on parkways? Why is abbreviation such a long word? And seriously, who decided pineapples look nothing like apples? That constant questioning is the same trait that drove scientists, inventors, and philosophers to break old rules and discover new truths. Having random bursts of energy, most people think intelligence means being calm, calculated, and disciplined all the time. But some of the smartest brains actually run in bursts, long stretches of low energy, then sudden explosions of focus and creativity. It's called ultradian rhythms, natural cycles where your brain saves energy, then dumps it all at once into problem solving or new ideas. That's why you might procrastinate for hours, then suddenly finish an entire project in one sitting. History's geniuses worked like this too. Nikola Tesla would collapse into weeks of rest, then wake up and churn out inventions in a frenzy. It looks chaotic, but it's really just a brain that knows when to recharge and when to fire on all cylinders. So the next time someone calls your habits weird, staying up late, being messy, questioning everything, just remember, those quirks might actually be proof your brain is operating on a higher level. But here's the real question. If everyday habits can secretly reveal intelligence, what other hidden traits might be showing us things about ourselves we've never even noticed?